here's what we got going on here. So I'm gonna do another snowman. Like this snowman. Okay. Now, the snowman is done on an angle, like this. So what I've done is I've shown the balls in the measurement, the snowballs in the measurement, and where the hat rim is. But these two sides are the front. I've also, you can screenshot that if you want, but the bottom ball is 1 1/4 inches from the top. The next ball is 1 inch. The next ball is 1/4. So they reduce by 1/4 every time. So 3/4, 1 inch, 1 1/4. I've got a roughly 1/4 inch brim on this hat, and the rest is the hat. Okay. And the reason I drew the snowballs on the back here for you is to show you. Notice how the hat, like the brim line is going to go across straight like this. But you have to envision the snowball being inside the hat. So that's why I drew the snowball inside the hat. So you're not going to have a complete ball and a hat sitting on top. The hat is going to be on the head. Similarly, see how the snowballs overlap, right? When you put round balls on snowballs on top of each other and you press them, they connect. So 1, 2, 3. You got the 3 balls. Once again, there's the measurement. Okay, so yeah, come on, let's carve a snowman with me. Okay. So I made a point of finishing my Remembrance Day soldier back there. You can see him or not, but my World War II Canadian era soldier. Okay. Nothing crazy going on here. All I'm going to do is work my way around, kind of stay above the brim of the hat. I made enough of these now that I almost feel like I made enough of them and then realized I didn't make enough of them. I'm one short. So this is going out again. Just trying to make it rounder. That's pretty round. All right, I'm just going to take the edges off, do exactly the same thing. I'm just going to extend this. My intent here now is just to make the whole thing round. I did actually buy a piece of 1 inch dowel. It's not basswood. I didn't feel like this was the place to experiment with this, but I will be trying a snowman with the dowel. You know, because you take this rectangular piece of wood, and the first thing you got to do is kind of round it, so you can start. You know, you need it somewhat round. I've done some adjustments to the workbench. It is a workbench in progress. Bottom bump. Now, perfectly round is not. I'm just gonna actually leave this one somewhat in view. Perfectly round is not the goal, but round enough. Okay, like the snowballs. The only reason you got any of those snowballs somewhat round is because you were rolling them on the ground and nature was helping you. Right now, the only nature you have is knife in your hand. Now, I will re-transfer those lines on. Before I get too far. Right. That was here. It's nice and easy. If you work from the bottom, right? If you're working from the bottom, it's nice and easy because you're 1 1/4, 1 3/4, right? 1 1/4, it's another inch, and then 3 inch. So 1 1/4, 2 1/4, 3 inch. That means I got a 3/4, a 1 inch, and a 1 1/4. My math is right. And the best way to get round-ish is just to take small cuts and work your way around it, right? Knock your corners off. Oh, there's a punky piece of wood in there. Ooh. You know, if I was making this snowman to stand on his own, I would contemplate putting a base. But as you can see by the eye hook in the snowman, he is destined to hang from a tree. He doesn't really need a base. We've got the lion's share of this in a reasonable spot now. Okay, so what we're going to do, we'll start from the bottom, and we're just going to V-cut all the way around. And we're going to do the next ball. We're going to V-cut all the way around. But when we get to the hat, the bottom of the hat rim, it's going to be a straight in cut. Straight in. Because we don't want a V on the hat. We're going to go straight in so that we have an under brim. This is far from an exact science. Or maybe it is and I just take it too whimsically. But you know, I'm here to have fun. Had a good chat today. I had to buy another poppy. I was going into the store and there was a veteran there doing the poppies. So I put my money in and paid for a poppy and had a little bit of a laugh. That's like the third poppy I've bought this month already. And they keep flying away, and he said, yeah, that's how we designed them. Because you feel a little crappy when you roll in and you know, you come across those guys and you don't have something to show that you know, you're understand and you're supportive. But yeah, it was comical, and well, they're everywhere right now. So I was in another one and ended up in a little bit of a chit chat. Had some time to kill, and we had a little bit of a conversation about camping, among other things. I was wearing a Ontario Provincial Park sweatshirt for a kill bear. So we started like that, and it ended up, and guess what came up? Carving. Carving. It's funny how things come up, or you bring things up, but I made a point of sharing the tribute that I'm sure they would never have gotten to see, at least in its close to finished state, right? I had a flag made all for that flagpole, and my calculation said it was the right size flag, but the reality is it just looked ridiculously large. So I'm just waiting for the new flag to show up, and when it does, it'll be going on that flagpole. I have to just transfer that line around a little bit there. I went crazy. 2 1/4, 2 1/4. There we go. Here's my cut. We'll just make it the center of our V-cut. Don't get too hung up on the V-cut because you still have to round the snowball out, so you're going to be in there pretty deep. Right now it's just more of a reference. All right, ball number 2. So measurement wise, like we said, 1.25 on the bottom, inch for the middle ball, 3/4, which takes us to 3 inch. Is the bottom of the rim of the hat. Now don't judge me. There we go. I had to do the carpenter mark because I went a little crazy. All right. It doesn't have to be perfect. Arguably, the hat so I've got the hat sitting straight on this guy's head, like this, right? I could have it leaning backwards a bit. Maybe I'll do that, and that's easy enough to do if that's what you want. So first and foremost, decide which corner is going to be your front. So we'll call this one the front because it doesn't really matter which one's front as long as you're consistent. Okay, there's my front. Now, all I need to do is just instead of that 1/4 mark, just put it on a little bit of a slant, ever so slightly, and just follow it around to the back. Follow it around to the back, right? Okay, so this one's going to be, remember I said it's going to be a straight line. So I just roll my knife around. This is my front. I got to make sure I got it right. So make sure the front is right before you fool around with the back. There's a lot of forgiveness in the back. There's not a lot of forgiveness in the front. Okay. Remember what I said about the snowball here too, right? So this is a hat, and this probably 1/3 of this snowball is under the hat. And in the back, much more of the snowball is under the hat. So the roundness of it's going to matter, right? I'm not going to round it right up in the back when clearly it's sitting further on the back of the head. So as we get into that, you'll see it change. Now what I'm doing, that piece on the bottom there, the underside of the rim, under there, all I'm trying to do is get it reasonably the same thickness all the way around. Doesn't have to be a big wide brim. So that's pretty good all the way around. All right. Now, just be careful. Make sure you know which way your grain's going. You don't have to go whole hog into digging in deep when you're not sure which way the grain's going. So make sure you leave the corner in the vicinity of the nose, which is pretty much in the middle there, right? Give yourself a dot, and just know that you're not taking that off. I was in the dollar store today and I saw glitter. I said to myself, You know, a little dab of that in the paint on a snowman would make them shimmer. I don't know if anyone's done that. If you have, drop me a comment. My fear is less about it not working and more about having glitter in my life for the rest of my life, which is a valid risk. With that, didn't take much. But all of a sudden you had glitter in your life. So I had 4 little girls in the house, and glitter is life. Boy, oh boy, when the glitter starts. So now I'm just going up the other way. We're working on the top of the next ball. Okay. Just rounding up. Could have got a little knot or something in there. It's okay though. Doesn't kill us, makes us stronger. I will say though, very seldom I come across an unusable piece of wood. Only, you know, in the little bit of time I've been carving, I've been through a lot of wood, and only ever come across a couple of crappy spots like that. The construction fur that I was using for the gnome door over there, the very bottom, is a knot. I love that gnome door. One of my favorite things I think I've carved after watching Doug Winter. And the eyes and the little bit of light coming from the back side of the door, that is it. He is all about the detail. It's the little detail. Make a piece of work look. Bam. So just small cuts now, just making my way around. God, reminds me of the song. Making my way downtown, making my way around. So still a V-cut. My new signature move. Now, got a really cool looking grass skirt. Hawaiian snowman. Now I'm just going around the other way with my V-cut, which is making the top of the next ball. Have a little peek. Look at that, eh? So I'm just gonna, like you can see in here, it's got to line up a little more, so I'll take a little more into here. It's got a flat spot there. I'll make that round. This is still a flat face. This is still a flat face. Right? And then we'll just taper down to the bottom. So let's just continue on with the head. Just small little cuts. I forget what Doug Winter calls them. It's got a good name. Facets. Fascinators. That's the one I learned what a fascinator was. Well, let me rephrase that. I knew what they were to see them. I didn't know they had a name as cool as fascinators, but yeah. If you don't know what a fascinator is, you need to look that up. Alright, I'll see if you're looking it up. You got other things to do, like watch my video. I don't want you to leave. Fascinators are those, when you think about funerals, which is not really the right use for a fascinator, but it'll be the easiest thing. So, the widow has that mesh-looking net thing that is kind of part of a little tiny hat and covers part of her head, or in the 50s. The women had them as hair pieces. 50s, I'm assuming 50s. How about that? Little pieces of mesh and feathers and bobbits and other doohickeys to make them look fancy. Rhinestones, whatever. Anything to make them look fascinating. Something, just a bunch of little cuts. Give them a little 360 action. Remember, we want the point on that nose. That's the top of the hat, right? There's a little flat here. Little flat there. I'm pretty pleased with the head. And I was talking about the hat, okay? Forget the rough cuts there, but see, the hat, the ball, the snowball is in this space. I know people like to know what knife I'm using all the time, so this is my OCC. So far, it's my go-to for general carving. It is my go-to knife. When I get into details and things like that, I'll use my file V-gouge, file V-gouge, or my, you know, for finer details, I really like my Badger State 1-inch carving knife. I'm not going to touch the hat. There. Got nice facets all the way around. And we'll just do the bottom one. Now the bottom one's not going to be perfectly round, as you can see, right? So what you're going to envision is there's a ball where it would end here and sit on the ground, but just taper it all the way down. If you're doing an ornament, you know, and arguably you could just make the whole bottom round. I still like to stand mine up. They're just not very stable. I'm coming up good 1/4 inch here, just to get the initial rounding out of the way. And I'm going to put a reference on the bottom here for center, but I feel like, you know, the start and end with an X kind of deal. But I think if you were rounding the whole bottom off, that would be even more important, right? So now, I'm just going to do exactly what we did on the other two. Little tiny bites all the way around. You know, make sure everything's got a facet. Just like Mom when she used to carve those apple peel some miraculous way and take the entire thing off. There's a level of patience I never had. But I'm thinking now that I've been carving, maybe I have that patience. As a kid, I know I sure as heck couldn't. Doing the same thing, just coming up the other way. All right. Now, you see the ball's rectangular. That's fine. I could trim it round and make it proportionate. I could do it, but realistically, you're gonna be angry about that? Who's gonna be angry about that? It looks nice. It looks nice. All right. So now we know this rim is gonna, the brim of the hat for Eric. Okay, I'll just draw it on here for the visual and to help us define where this hat's gonna go before we start touching it. All right, so from a side portfolio, the hat is here. Okay, this is the rim. Therefore, the hat probably looks like this, right? If I was staying with this type of hat, like a top hat, it would almost be a 90-degree right off of that, right? Like this, that I'd be trimming. You know, this, you know, if I leave a little bit of a rim, just humor me, okay? If I cut in here, and I go straight back like this, and make that the front of my hat. Okay, so again, this time it's not going to be straight in, it's going to be up towards the top of the hat because you want a little bit of a slope. It's easier to deal with. Okay. That the brim doesn't have to be ridiculous. Okay. Now, there's the top of the hat. I'm just going to bring it down to the brim carefully. If I don't cut the brim off, Dave, that's for my benefit and yours if you're carving along with me. Okay. Now you can see, hopefully you can start to see, the front of the hat would be like this. And therefore the back of the hat, the complete opposite side, here, again, up a little bit. Right. This hat is going to be a little deeper in there. Right. Now, the rim of the hat is like this. Okay, so if I take that line and I bring it all the way up to the top, technically, the top of the hat I have to keep checking to make sure I'm front to back. Now you can see the hat is a little more on an angle, right? I'm just going to go mark the the brim. I'm going, like I said, we marked a quarter for this, right? 1/4 inch. So again, I'm making that 1/4 inch line the center of my V-cuts, roughly. As my start point. Just careful because it gets a little thin in there. All right. See what we got going on. We can put a band on the hat. We can make the hat just crazy looking, lean it off to the side. We could make it, you know, if mine flares up, it could be perfectly straight. I happen to like the thinner here, thicker at the top vibe, but maybe this one's going to be different. So I'm just going to work on the side here, work my way around. Or should I say, work my way around. I'm taking just a little at a time. I'm looking a little more straight up and down. Go one more time around. I'm starting at the brim. See, I got this little edge here. So as soon as I hit it, I'm just using the tip of my knife, tilt my way up. Yeah. Little cuts. Nothing crazy. Like a shave and a haircut. Back, still got a bit of a lip to it. Still got a little bit of a lip. All right. Yeah, so his hat's off to the side here a little bit. I'm going to take a little bit of this off, just to round it out. Sometimes you're not off by much. Yeah. I could arguably paint it just like that. You know how it works. We can never leave good enough alone. I'm just going to take the sharp edge, the top of the hat. Okay. Now I could continue going deeper in here, but I don't think I really want to. I kind of like where I'm at. Now when we get to the nose, we got options, okay? One of the options, see, I'm gonna make the hat taller, skinnier, whatever you want. But we're doing this guy, which is the 1 inch, 1.25 inch, 3/4 hat, okay? This one is, if you're really wanting this one, it's inch and a quarter, oh, it's almost the same math. 1.25 inches, 3/4, half. 1.25 inches, 3/4, so that line is 2 inches right here to the head ball, and then that one's roughly probably more 5/8 to the bottom of the rim. So if that's where you're shooting, but I wanted to try something a little more balanced. I would explain why the ball is rounder on this one than it is on this one, and that's perfectly okay. But this is the hat we're working with here. We can give it some character. We can, you know, put some cuts in it if we want. I'm not going to. It's just going to get painted. Now, the carrot nose. I just like to do a relief cut and carve it back. What's what I've been doing. But Mr. Linker did something ridiculous. We're going to give it a college try here. I have a dowel. We're going to find It's very exact science. Yes, so Mr. Winker made all the buttons. And the nose. With a piece of dowel. And I was like, what? So he drilled 3 holes in here, put the dowels in, smaller dowel than this, right? And just trimmed them off. Then you have these fancy 3D buttons. See, we got a rough edge there. Now his secret sauce for this, which I enjoyed, was literally just putting the drill bit back in by hand and using it to trim. And look at that. Instant clean. Now we'll give this a little check. Oh, Davy, Davy, Davy. All right. Doctor, 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 doctor. Dollar store crazy glue. Okay, here's the thing. It's in there now, okay? It's in. Put my glove back on. I'm going to carve the carrot. I'm not going to worry about the fact that there's an ever so slight gap around that. But I do enjoy what Mr. Linker pulled off. So now we're trying a winker nose on my snowman. I have many snowmen in now. This is the first one that I've used a piece of dowel for. Now, an important tip when you make your carrot nose is it cannot be a weapon. In Canada, we have to register weapons, so you gotta limit the danger factor of your point. Here we go. As always, I appreciate you watching. If you do one of these, by all means, let me know. You can jump on my Facebook page. I can be messaged on my Facebook page if you want to send me a message and show me what you've done. If you have questions, concerns, comments, feedback, send me a message on the Facebook page. It's The Carving Rookie at Facebook. On Facebook, just The Carving Rookie. If you're not subscribed on the YouTube channel, please pop over there, hit the subscribe button, give the video a like, and check out the rest of them as well. And if you have ideas, thoughts, comments, don't be shy, drop them in the message for me. Anyway, thank you again. We'll see you on the next video.